Good morning, Lagos.
How you doing, fighter?
I'm very fine, thank you. I'm very humble.
You
Not
needed
that
to
people
see.
have called me fighter.
Yeah, you are. You needed to see Taga's hair earlier. I liked the way she combed it up. It looked
I
like
cannot comb the air.
somebody
Good
was
morning, Lagos.
electrocuted
I'm very nice and polite too.
this
Yes, you
morning, right?
are.
I'm not a fighter.
So let's keep it that way.
People just like to make me
Can we
talk.
keep it that way now?
Right.
No.
Send us messages on WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. That is our WhatsApp messaging portal. So that number again 0809 444 0981.
We are on Twitter at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag LockerRoom981, and that YouTube channel we mentioned that for you to be a part of our YouTube family is youtube.com. Search for Smooth98.1 FM there. Now, don't forget you can use the live chat option to send us messages and interact with us. We love it, love it, love it. All right, let's go on to our first story for this morning. We have a lot to get through, so let's get in. UFC 245, Kamaru Usman stops Colby Covington in final round of Thriller. UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman produced a dramatic late stoppage to defeat trash-talking challenger Colby Covington in the final minutes of their main event bout at UFC 245 in Las Vegas. The Nigerian battled toe-to-toe with his American rival through four hugely entertaining rounds at the T-Mobile Arena, breaking Covington's jaw with a huge punch in the third round.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I have to say this. See why I don't like UFC. We are bloodthirsty people. I know many Nigerians are watching this fight. Look, if you saw Covington after the fight, it was horrible. He had a cut under his eye. His jaw was swollen. He looked like, I don't know if he was crying or his eyes were just red from the hard life, but it's not.
I think it was both.
Yeah, I mean, it was a mixture of both. Because you can hide your tears in between the hard punches, but it was not pretty. But the thing about this life is that people like all this gore, and then people now be telling me that Anthony Joshua fought smart nonsense.
You know how three fingers are pointing back at you right now?
Yeah, I know. But see, the only reason I went back to watch his knockout, and the only reason I watched his knockout was because of how Covington trash talked before.
Exactly.
So it wasn't. It had nothing. I don't watch UFC normally, but it's a sport, and this is the locker room, and we talk all sports, so we have to cover all our audience.
Cover.
So that's why I watched it. That's my excuse. What's yours, you bloodthirsty people? But it was the way I kid you not. I think I don't. At some point, I started to wonder if Kamaru's visa was ready. Maybe that's why he's not talking back, because there's nothing Covington did not say. He's abused. He spoke. He poked. He made fun. He threw shade. He threw the whole trees. Everything was thrown at Kamaru, and he was just quiet. And then the guy just waited. It was a good fight. I think it wasn't. It was tactically planned. It was technically worked out. He waited. Covington was tired. Then he knocked him out. Like, his spirit left his body and then came back in. So I think, yeah, it was tears I saw in Covington's eye at the end. It was not just red eyes. But sometimes that's just how you answer people. You know, when there's so much noise, no need to talk more. Just put
And
the
I like
person
what
to
Kamaru
bed.
said. He said he talked a lot going into this, so this was a respect thing. I had a responsibility to go in there and teach him a lesson.
End of discussion. You see what I was saying about Anthony Joshua. So sometimes, sometimes it's not just a fight, it's a message you send. You preach a gospel. By the time they see the person you've dealt with, they are hesitant to talk to you somehow the next time. But now, why do I still be making noise? Because points.
I mean, you everyone knows how I feel about boxing. Now talk more of UFC.
Trust me, if you saw the trash talk, you'd have wanted to see this.
Yeah, I think that was it. Because I like I said, we have to cover all sports, so sometimes I have to watch UFC. But most in general, I would avoid it.
Okay, you watch it.
But because of this Covington guy, the way he was talking before the fight, hey, I said this one I must see. It's like when Habib was fighting against Conor, and that's the only reason why I said this mouth that Conor hasn't making sense. Let him come and chop it, and he did chop it that day. So that's what it is. That's what made me watch it. But congratulations to Nigeria. They've won. and you just see the talent all over. Whether it comes to boxing, somebody of Nigerian descent is there. Whether it comes to UFC, some of Nigerian descent is there. Hopefully, Olympics, we will not be disgraced.
Teacher I. No, I'm saying that why is it only the violent sports that we are
No,
good at?
don't say that. Oh, we also play football,
Which one?
basketball.
Are we winning? Are we winning?
Yes, now we are
championships?
winning. Now we are
Internationally.
Africa. Don't you know we won African championships
When?
this year? We won the African championships.
Plus
The women's, the
international leagues
Tigers.
in our clubs, we play well.
Well, we do everything well.
We do very well.
Don't try
I
also.
don't agree. But that's
I don't, because we have not won World Cup doesn't mean we have not tried.
Exactly.
But we're winning World Cup for UFC and boxing.
No, it's not World Cup.
And did you guys hear the song that he walked away with? You know,
He walked
it was
out.
the- yeah, he walked out.
What was it?
Anybody? Burna Boy song.
Sorry.
Anyway, Cristiano Ronaldo scored twice as Juve beats Udinese 3-1 to join Inter Milan at the top of the Serie A table on Sunday after Antonio Conte's side were held 1-1 at Fiorentina. Dusan Vlahovic snatched a point from Fiorentina 2 minutes into injury time to frustrate Inter Milan, who had led Valero's opener after 8 minutes in Tuscany. Now, both Juventus and Inter Milan have 39 points from 16 games, with Antonio Conte's side ahead on goal difference. Now, Ronaldo scored twice in the first half to make it 5 goals in 4 games as the reigning champions got back winning after last weekend's first defeat of the season to Lazio. Now, Ronaldo said, "That's how we have to play. We play with confidence."
Yes, very, very important game for them. Last weekend wasn't so good for them, and Inter Milan grabbed the top of the table spot. But it's a fight you have to put weekend after weekend. You can't take a break, you can't catch your breath because there's somebody chasing you down. And especially when the person is Antonio Conte, who has won the Italian Serie A with the same team, has a history with the team, so knows exactly how they think. It's a hard task to keep up. But what Juventus did this weekend, was do their business, their end of business, score as many goals as they could, and try not to concede a lot of goals. Unfortunately, they did concede one goal, one consolation goal in added time, but they got all 3 points. They just have to keep doing that in order for them to win the league. On the other hand, Inter Milan dropped the ball against Fiorentina, scored a very early goal in, I think, in the 8th minute of the match. Looked like they were going to get a few more, never did get that second goal, and then Fiorentina comes back and equalizes. So for both teams now, anybody that blinks can lose the title. And Cristiano Ronaldo is just urging his team, look, we have the quality of players, and we have the history behind us. If we play every week with confidence, if we go in with a little bit of boldness, we can get this title secure.
You can do it.
So I guess that's what they have to do, because Inter Milan, yes, they stumbled a little bit this weekend, but if Juventus blinks next weekend, Inter Milan are back on top.
You blink, you miss. All right. Lukman from Bagada says, Tega lies. You're not bloodthirsty yet. You want Joshua to brutalize Ruiz. Girl, I fear you.
As Zizi Classic said, it's like Kamaru Usman mistook Kobe Covington for the Nigerian government. As if he's the one responsible for the border closure.
Guys, banter better is coming soon.
They should start practicing.
They should start practicing. Chris says, good morning, people. I hope after watching Joshua and Usman, our millennial parents would stop beating their children for fighting. There could be a championship talent underneath all that gra behavior.
No,
that was the point I was driving at. That because we fight a lot,
they can't be fighting.
That's why we're winning all these boxing matches. All right, let's move on to some more sporting news. Benzema salvages Madrid draw with Clasico looming. So Real Madrid missed the chance to replace Barcelona at the top of La Liga ahead of Wednesday's Clasico, but salvaged a 1-1 draw against Valencia as Karim Benzema scored a dramatic injury time equalizer yesterday. Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois ventured up for a final corner at Mestalla, and it was his header that caused panic in the Valencia box. After the ball fell perfectly for Benzema to strike in the 95th minute.
Yes, it was. I would say this for Valencia. They had 2 opportunities after scoring the opening goal to further put a buffer between them and Real Madrid. They just didn't take advantage of that. Real Madrid, on the other hand, came back, chased that game, and yeah, Thibaut Courtois was shocking. First of all, that he even ran to the opposing end, but it looked like it was going to be the final kick of the game. So there was no harm, no foul. Might as well go out there. And he went there, he got the header. Unfair because he's 6'6". So he's 6'6", and then he outjumped everybody. There was no competition. He got the first header, and then the rebound came off Garay, and Benzema slotted it in. At the end of the day, they were able to salvage a point. But here's what was dramatic, because remember when we were talking about this on Friday, that Barcelona and Real Madrid will be looking ahead to Clasico that is on Wednesday, and they'll forget the people in front of them. Barcelona traveled to Sociedad. It's a tough ground in the first place for Barcelona to get results. It's very tricky. Sometimes they go there and it doesn't end well. They go there again and they play with they start with the slowest of paces, looked uninterested, weren't winning any 50% tackles, weren't being the first foot on the ball or the first head on the ball. I don't want to say head because of Barcelona, because they're all short, but first foot on the ball. They were not doing much, especially in the first half, but they did manage to get 2 goals. Again, their defense is as leaky as possible. Ter Stegen did what he could to try and save them, but in the second half, it was also his fault that the second goal, the equalizer, was scored against him. Now, Barcelona dropped the ball. You would expect that Real Madrid would say, oh, boy, let me try and find 3 points before El Clasico. It's not what happened, because they went to Valencia. Yes, Valencia were in high spirits. Like I said, they're beating Chelsea during the week, and they're top their group in the UEFA Champions League. But because of the way the results Barcelona had, it should have given Real Madrid a totally different spirit and a totally different way to come out of the game. They didn't do the same thing, and so they managed to draw. It's like as if Barcelona is saying, Real Madrid, take this title from me, and Real Madrid is saying, no, we don't want it, hold on to it, thank you. But El Clasico will determine on Wednesday what happens, and sometimes I think that's just the best way to determine who is superior, when you go head to head with the people you're competing with against. That's what I like to see.
Nice one. Emma from Makoka says, Karamu Usman, Omo Yami, wow. Guess he left the trash talking for Loma. Nice one. He gave Covington a dirty December gift. Hopefully, Covington can make his jaw great again. He's the real nightmare, the way our guy used him for Pounded Yamo. Emma, thanks.
Zizi Classic says, kudos to Real Madrid for making real efforts to save Valverde's job.
Nice one, love it. Diego Kingston says, must Madrid drop points whenever Barca does so? For me, I think Syria will go down the wire this season. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Biggie from Kitty said, in short, I'm short of words for Arsenal. Please pray for them. The management of all of them need it. The problem is not on there.
So we're going to get to that banter.
Yes.
You both should so start drafting your banter. Start putting your notes.
Sorry for that.
Start putting your notes together, like Arsenal fans didn't know from when they saw the fixtures that was not going to be their 3 points. It was a question of how many goals.
Io's case might be transfer aggression.
So exactly. So yeah, I'm drafting my banter too. You guys should draft your banter, because Arsenal, like I said on Friday,
people want to drag them.
Ripe for the picking.
Anyways, I will not read your comments.
I will not read it. The harvest is ready. Let's go into the field.
You guys are laughing like witches cacking. All right, Lagos, we're coming back very shortly, and it will be time for Banter Better with Coca-Cola.
I don't like the fact that Arsenal is suffering, but I'm about to enjoy. Oh yeah, draft. People should draft on YouTube. Want to see your own banter better?
Yeah, they say they can't see your face though, Tega. You do this.
You don't
to
need
them.
my face for this
you
draft.
You do this to them every single week.
You need Arsenal's face for this draft.
All we are saying, show us your face. Right? Are you feeling me? Orim John is the real Femi on there. Quadri Aderogba, our regulars. If you're on YouTube, give us a shout out so we can know who is here. Yeah, they already started.
This banter will be.
They've already started. You guys, I'm not reading your comments if it's very negative. We're not
drop your banter, make it clean, so that Ayo will not have excuse not to read it.
Yes, on behalf of my husband, on behalf of him and the entire my SA family, I protest and I
Arsenal.
okay, let us banter better.
Please, let's banter well. Oh.
Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola. Well, you heard that right. This segment of the show, The Locker Room 981, is brought to you by Coca-Cola. It's hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. I'm Ayomire Say.
I'm Valentino Who.
And to do justice to the stories, we have Tiger. Now, Tiger, tell us, what are the rules of banter better with Coca-Cola?
Okay, nothing vulgar, nothing discriminatory. Don't let it end in tears. Don't let it get personal.
I really feel very personally.
No. Personal doesn't mean personal to you. Because let me just say, you don't have the phone number to Cronker or his son. So, Joe, if you're angry, that's your personal problem. But personal, that they won't pick on family, they won't pick on things.
Okay.
Keep it clean.
Vulgar and insulting words.
Thank you.
Otherwise, blocked.
Blocked.
Okay.
Who will see it?
Won't see it. So let's go to the story of the moment. Valentine, I'm too hurt. I cannot. Go ahead.
How do you pronounce the word?
Very funny.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Freddie Ljungberg urges Arsenal to make managerial decisions soon. He said, and I quote, "I've said to the club, it's a great honor to do this. But of course, Pierre Mestasha is an academy manager and is doing two jobs at once. I think it needs to be cleared up to make a decision so everyone knows, but that's up to the club. I'm very honored and I try to do things as good as I can. But I think as well, it would be good to make a decision regardless of what it is."
I totally agree with him. And this is what I've been saying about Arsenal not having a plan. And then some people come and slide into my DM to be telling me story. But what is it, for a club of Arsenal standards, you cannot be in limbo. Especially when you knew that fans had been calling for the head of Unai Emery from the start of the season. The first thing you'd have done is, if we're going to sack this guy, who is going to be his replacement? Who should we send to talk to him? You know, because there are some people that you call directly and say, "Can you do this for me?" and they'll do it. There's some other people that you will send their egbo to them and they will answer. You know, you would have had a plan. But us seems to be in limbo. And Freddie Ljungberg is saying, "I like that I'm doing this job, but I didn't come here to be senior manager, and especially now." You know, if Arsenal were winning, he'll say it is his magic. But they're struggling. So he's saying, especially now, I can't do this. We have to decide. If they choose me, let me know that they're choosing me and I'm on the chopping, my head is on the chopping block. If not, let them get somebody. And he's talking about Per Mertesacker. Per Mertesacker is running the academy, and he also now has to sit with over the weekend with Freddie Ljungberg to run the senior team. So he's saying, look, we have to decide. And I've said this several times. You have to decide what you want to do. Do we need a coach that's going to spend with a 6-year strategy? Then get that coach. Are we looking for a coach that will get us trophies immediately? Then get that coach. They obviously have no plan. And this is trickling down. You can blame Ozil for not tracking back. You can blame Aubameyang for waiting only around the 18-yard box. And you can blame all the Arsenal defenders for not knowing what they are doing. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the fact that don't know what they want, therefore they do not know the coach that they want, therefore the team does not know how to play. End of discussion. And that's what ends up in 3-0. And it was very polite result because they scored those 3 goals in the first half and they didn't score in the second half. Imagine if they had scored more in the second half.
Wasn't it within 2 minutes they scored the first one? All right, let's go on. So Sheyi
Imagine if they scored in the second half.
Honestly, I think they must have gotten a right talking to in the locker room. All right, so Sheyi says, "Ayo, please send WhatsApp to Lampard now. Tell him he's becoming more of a comedian now than a coach. It's not funny. We have not recovered from Saturday's demonic traffic yet. Lampard still made Chelsea lose. But take a gist us about Arsenal, beg. He has just said.
So Valentine, who says Chelsea and Arsenal?
Remember, send your messages.
Banter better with Coca-Cola.
Charles Chidozie says, "Why is every Nigerian successful fighter always nicknamed the Nigerian Nightmare? Does it have to do with the fact that the country has no light?"
Very fun guy.
That one is loud. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
Emeka from Amuwo says, "Watching Manchester City versus Arsenal was like watching Barca playing Katsina United. Really. It was a horror show. I thought Arsenal had the worst defense when we had Senderos, Squillaci and Silvestre. But this is far worse. It takes courage to be an Arsenal fan, Sha. I was praying to go to bed last night and wake up as a Liverpool fan. But anyway,
Still an Arsenal. Femi says this referee is checking VAR to find out if Arsenal is a football club.
Nice one.
Femi from Vestac, Banter better.
That's a nice one.
Nice one. Agumbi Ade, real one. Said someone said even if Arsenal play against themselves, they will still lose.
It's banter we have to
Sylvester
do
says
it.
hashtag Banter better with Coca-Cola. According to VAR, that's video assistant referee. The decision to sack Emery has been overturned, and he will continue as Arsenal manager. More misery. Oh.
You guys are amazing. MI says, Ijoba Lumberg Tijewa, KDB was using us for campaign for Ballon d'Or. I just hope we make up to 40 points, so at least we can avoid relegation. Ozil was really a pain in the Arsenal with his attitude yesterday. And when your ticket we don't cut. Waiting I don't know go see for the other side. MI. Alright. We have some comments on YouTube. We have Olufemi Omota saying, we told Arsenal fans to be careful of what they wished for when they hounded Monsieur Wenger out of the job. See them now? Then the real Femi says, Ozil, Oba, and Genduzi, you three, kneel down there. All right, let's move on to the next story. But, yeah, whatever. All right, yeah, you don't mean it. All right, so Duncan Ferguson defends Moise Kean substitution against Manchester United. Here's what he said. I was looking for a guy who could handle it better. He struggled to get into the game. He had not quite gotten to the pace of it. He started on the right wing and he's a centre forward, but he's only 19, so he'll come again.
Okay, let me put it this way. A guy comes on, the coach looks at his strategy, brings in this 19-year-old guy, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, he substitutes him. And then the coach is now saying that, hold on, that he is not, number one, he did not fit the pace of the game. He didn't look like he was ready. So the coach brought him out. If it were Jose Mourinho, imagine what the people with their machetes and cutlasses would have done. He has killed the confidence of the guy. The guy can never be good again. The guy needs therapy. The guy needs his daddy. What sort of manager is that? He's not a people person. But because it's Duncan Ferguson now, everybody just quiet. Please, you people should not shift this goalpost.
Yes.
What is what is. He brought in a guy. The guy did not do what the job that he was supposed to do. He brought him out. End of discussion. There should be nothing about he doesn't hug his players enough. That's why they are not bringing results. Please. We already pay you enough money. I'm proper salary reserve. So don't come and be saying you need another hug to score goal. All the 250 salary they're paying Masha. One goal he could not score yesterday. So please, let's not.
Please.
All right, 12 messages to go through. This one is from Agumbe Ade, real one. He says, kindly check on your Arsenal and Chelsea friends this morning. They're going through a rough patch. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
All right, so hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. This is Shay. When you pronounce the words banter, battered, fatal, and Arsenal, they end with same sound jaw. As at today, Arsenal cannot beat the Super Falcons. Assistant to score hat-trick new.
And this one is from Diego Kingston. It says, hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Kudos to Uncle Freddie for being sincere enough to tell the Academy FC of EPL that he does not want his CV and image tarnished. But unfortunately, Arsenal doesn't even have an idea of what to do. Anyway, Lampard should be mindful of his tactics, and he raised that mindset of not shopping during the winter transfer window.
Benson Akinkugbe on YouTube says the problem is with the players on Arsenal's board. Now I can agree that Ozil should be out. He's so lazy and he's infected Genduzi. The young boy that replaced Ozil was hot. Then Kodji Adeopa says, I don't even have the energy to banter Arsenal. My Chelsea is giving me headache. Banter better with Coca-Cola.
Okay, from Navy Town on WhatsApp says, so after the Man United's match, I was so unhappy that I decided to chill with my friend that is an Arsenal fan. I got there 5 minutes into the match and immediately the Baba saw me. He ran downstairs to switch off his generator. I even offered to buy fuel, but Baba no agree. Check, Arsenal fans. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
Nah, you people are so
Let's get back into the stories now. Jose Mourinho said his side had won an incredible 3 points against the Wolves team. In his words, and I quote, we went about a year without winning a Premier League game away, and we've managed to in a short amount of time. Now, we're not looking to the bottom of the table, we're looking higher up.
He's so right. Let me put this into perspective. Jose Mourinho came, Tottenham was about 10 to 14 points behind Chelsea, and now they're just 3 points behind Chelsea, and they're 5th on the table.
Wow.
So I mean, he's won 12 out of 15 points.
That's amazing.
Look, and this is for a finished manager. They say this manager is finished. Football has left him. He's not a people person. Terrible character, bad behavior, second wife. Only one man.
Mine was the second one.
All of the above. And now here he is. And he's right. We are looking up now, and because of the way that Leicester City drew this weekend, because of the way that the form of Manchester City, Chelsea, and Leicester City are very top. The only consistent team right now in the EPL is Liverpool.
Yeah.
But because of the way the top teams are giving erratic results, he has high hopes that he can finish in automatic UCL spot. He may not be looking at Premier League, but automatic UCL spot. If he does that, he's done. Comparing Tottenham now to where they were a few weeks back. So please call his name with respect. Jose Mourinho.
We'll see.
Please.
Very, I mean, a lot of respect. All right, we have Big T who says hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Tigger, did I hear you say 3-0 loss by Arsenal was polite?
In the
I
first
really need to upgrade your dictionary.
Charles Studios here says hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. From Tigger's analysis, I easily conclude that Arsenal can be compared to a particular political party who spent years contesting for election, but when they eventually won, they had no plans.
Oh dear.
Thank you. Let's not call any names.
MI from Makoka says, I need Marshall no fit score again. Ni Greenwood though, Omolomo, hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. We also have a few comments on YouTube. All right, no, your YouTube, my fam, our fam. Keep it coming, guys. Don't forget, you can send your messages to 0809-444-0981. If it's your first time, you're most welcome to do so. As if it's not enough, people will still got another story on Arsenal, so they can discuss a bit more. Ozil Hural sees Arsenal Manchester City pulled from China State TV. Arsenal's Premier League game against Man City did not show on state-run Chinese Central Television on Sunday, following comments made by Ozil that criticized China's treatment of its Muslim Uyghur minority.
Okay, so because of, again, I will say this, there is no way I think that we will separate politics from sports.
Yeah.
Eventually it will merge. So which is what FIFA tries to do, which is where they say don't put any messages on under your clothes, and then if you take off your clothes celebrate, they'll give you a fine or something, or they'll give you a card. Is because of political messages, because it's a big stage, the world is watching, and sports is the most interactive event that happens after music.
Yes.
Sports,
And on the larger scale, it's a business.
it's a business. So when when things happen like this, because of the way sports is big, the key people in it, the players, the managers are also seen as top notch and celebrities.
Yeah.
And so they have people that are following them. Mesut Ozil, as much as people are harassing him every day, he has 24.4 million followers. At the end of the day. So if he puts a message out, that's 24.4 million people looking at him and saying, this man is saying something. He's Muslim. So he understands that there is a struggle with the Muslim brothers in a particular country. And so he's speaking out against it. Now for China, the thing about China is it's very tricky. It's very dicey. If you touch China on anything, they can affect you back. And so China not showing the Arsenal Manchester City match is money gone. And with China, sometimes you can't even hold them accountable to some contracts. They'll just say, you broke the law by speaking against our country or by interfering with our country, and therefore we cancelled. End of discussion. And so it's tricky, which is why Arsenal came out to say that Mesut Ozil's view are Mesut Ozil's views by himself. It's not Arsenal's view. We are not political. We are open to everybody, but the damage is already done. Mesut Ozil is an Arsenal player, and this was happening. But I think at the end of the day, players should be able to speak, say some things concerning how their social lives or their communities are affected.
Of course.
I don't know that you should punish a club or the EPL for something that one of the players said.
That's
but
just been very petty.
I'm just being me. I'm just here. Don't let them punish us.
So
They're watching us in China
happened.
too.
But I think it got the desired effect for Ozil. Because all the news channels carried it. And Diego Kingston sent this message.
Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. The fact is that Jose is a winner and die-hard winner at that.
Actually, he says hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. At 4 a.m. early this morning, my alarm woke me up. The alarm shouted, "It's 4! It's 4!" I didn't know when I screamed, "Has Man City scored the front goal?" Thank you.
Nice one. All right, Moan says, I wonder if Foden had a human haircut, he could lose his status as most overrated player in world football. Maybe to Moise Kean.
And Big T says, final message here, banter better with Coca-Cola. There's a USA defense company that invented a wearable camouflage clothing. It changes colors when you wear it. It was designed to hide the wearer. I suggest Arsenal should buy them as club jerseys.
Very funny, Big T. All right, thank you guys so much. This segment of the Locker Room 91 was brought to you by Coca-Cola. It's tagged hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola. Thank you so much for being such great sports and keeping it clean, keeping it fresh, even though it was naughty. But thank you, Tega. Tega is at Tega Supreme on Twitter. You can follow the work she does with ladies in sports at LIS International. Valentine and myself are still here. 9 o'clock will bring you Lagos Talks 981. A shout out to my friend Toby Ubena, who's listening to us. I think
fantastic.
probably for the first time actually.
Great. This segment of the Locker Room was brought to you by Coca-Cola. Hashtag banter better with Coca-Cola.
Love life.
That's the